So this certainly is not the video topic that I thought we would be exploring in today's video, but today we are revisiting one of the better trades that Kent Hughes has made in the past few years. It involves the Montreal Canadiens and it involves the Colorado Avalanche, and the reason we are talking about this trade today is because of one of the assets involved on the Colorado side of things. So, I mean, it's not really difficult to take a guess here. There have been two trades between the Canadiens and the Avalanche that people seem to care about nowadays. Let's head over to June 27th, 2023, because back on this date, the Montreal Canadiens acquired the signing rights to Alex Newhook in exchange for 2 draft picks and prospect Gianni Fairbrother. Now, this is not going to be a video about Alex Newhook in particular. We're just talking about the trade which sent Newhook to the Habs. But in exchange, the Colorado Avalanche got themselves 3 younger assets, and I think it's only fair to go out there and talk about these in a brief little overview before diving into why exactly it is we are making this video. Now, just to start things off, the prospect that the Avalanche acquired in the trade, Gianni Fairbrother, yeah, unfortunately, he has been more of an ECHL guy lately. I mean, he had played for the Utah Grizzlies 8 games, 1 game with the Colorado Eagles in the AHL last season. He's had a really rough go in development the past few years here. I'm not really expecting too much out of Gianni Fairbrother eventually making the Colorado Avalanche, but he was included in this trade. Also included was a 2023 second-round pick from Montreal that was used to select prospect Ethan Gauthier. That pick actually wasn't used by Colorado. They traded it over to Tampa for the signing rights to Ross Colton. So there you go, Ross Colton, very effective player. And then you have yourselves the first-round pick. You can see it right here on the screen with the first-round pick that the Colorado Avalanche acquired in the Newhook trade. They selected prospect Mikhail Gulyayev, 31st overall. Now, this is pretty significant, because if you wanted to talk about the prospect, I'd say that this is the main piece that Colorado got in exchange for Alex Newhook that's actually providing value right now. Gianni Fairbrother is in the ECHL, the Ethan Gauthier pick was traded to get Ross Colton, and now if you take a look at it, I mean, Ross Colton had a pretty good year, all things considered, 40 points, 80 games played, but he is a little bit older, and you could question whether or not that contract really is worth it. Also, there's the entire conversation as to whether or not his role is going to be as utilized as guys start coming back from injury, and there's an entire thing with that. I wanted to talk about the prospect, though. Mikhail Gulyayev, 31st overall. Because we recently had ourselves an interview with Gulyayev that I think really changes the way things are going with this prospect and his development. Let's head over to Colorado Hockey Now from yesterday. Evan Rawal published this piece. Gulyayev makes it clear what his path to the NHL is going to be. Take a look at this. It doesn't sound like Gulyayev has much interest in the AHL. In a new interview with ResponsibleGambling.org, the 19-year-old defenseman spoke about his plans to get to the best league in the world, and it does not sound like that plan includes the AHL. My path to the NHL is to come and play right away, he had told Sergei Demidov. I'm following my dream, and I'm not interested in anything else. I'm not against the AHL, it's a good league. But if I go to America and play, I will only play in the NHL. Seems like he is straight up just rejecting the idea of heading to the American Hockey League entirely. And to his credit, I will say, Gulyayev had a really good season in the KHL this most previous year, 12 points in 64 games played as a full-on just 18-year-old defenseman for the entire year. That's very rare to see a guy, especially at only 5'10", 172, actually have that level of success and be given that kind of a role in the KHL. Sure, it's with Avangard Omsk, it's not with SKA St. Petersburg or CSKA Moscow, but still, getting those reps in and getting that experience is valuable. It is just interesting to me, though, how his immediate reaction upon being asked about development with Colorado is, hey, I'm not going to the AHL. I'm only going to play in the NHL if I go over to North America. I'm straight up rejecting that idea of playing in the American Hockey League. To his credit, though, the Avalanche were pleased with how his season went. Evan Rawal, the writer of this article, said he had asked Brian Willsey about him last month. That's huge. That's a tough league to play in as a young guy. We watched him closely, we obviously have scouts over there watching him, but with video now we can watch all his games and all his shifts. It's not easy, and they don't give opportunities out freely over there to young guys. That's the way they do it. For him to get the minutes that he had and the opportunity was a great experience. Real good development year, and we'll watch him closely again. So there is a lot to look forward to when it comes to Gulyayev and his projection into the NHL. I do still think that he has, let's say, middle pairing-ish potential long-term, and of course, you know, with the Russian factor being a thing, there are a lot of really good Russian defensemen over the past few years that have made their impacts known. A lot of them happen to be bigger. It's rare to see the guys that are really small actually make a significant impact at the NHL level. Like, when I think about effective Russian defensemen in the NHL, I think of guys like Provorov, I think of guys like Zadorov, Kulikov, all fairly big dudes. So Gulyayev coming in at under 6 feet, 5'10" to be exact, more so in that Cale Makar kind of mold, it kind of breaks the narrative there. And you would hope that as his career continues, he will be able to find more of an offensive edge. I just found it super interesting how the main prospect in the Alex Newhook trade is straight up rejecting the idea of coming over to North America to play in the AHL. He wants KHL to NHL or KHL to KHL. He's not really going to settle for any American Hockey League time. And in a way, I see that as a red flag. I do think it's a little bit scary when a prospect completely disregards whatever path a team might offer him, because, I mean, look, if Gulyayev gets told by the Avalanche, hey, we want you in the Eagles system, we want you in the Colorado Eagles AHL system, he's gonna have no choice but to say yes, right? Like, he can't demand, oh no, I'm gonna go to Colorado only to play for you, not for the Eagles, I don't want to play AHL time. And I'm starting to think, if that actually does happen, like he rejects whatever plan it is the Avalanche have for him, then what's gonna happen at that point? I mean, he's already a prospect on the team. It says here in this article that his favorite players are Joe Sakic and Cale Makar, so is there a world where things go south? And zipping back over to the Montreal side of this trade, obviously, you know, Newhook was the prize that the Montreal Canadiens got in this trade that involved the pick for Mikhail Gulyayev. But at the same time, you can't go out there and say if the Canadiens had the 31st overall pick, they would have selected this guy. It's not really guaranteed in any way. I just thought it was super interesting to acknowledge how all the pieces in this trade are coming together, because Gianni Fairbrother, not really doing too much. Ross Colton nowadays, good player, could be a third-line guy next season, and then Gulyayev is the prize prospect, all for Alex Newhook, who has been fine in Montreal so far. So if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this prospect not really even considering the idea of going to the AHL and only wanting NHL time upon his North American arrival? It almost seems like he's guaranteeing himself a job, because it's like if he goes over to North America, he's saying he's not remotely interested in suiting up in the American Hockey League, thus potentially handcuffing the Avalanche to giving him a spot. I mean, if he's good enough, then fine, like, give him that opportunity, but if he doesn't show up, I wonder what happens. If he's in the NHL and he's not as good as he could be, or he's not as good as the Avalanche want him to be, where do they send him? They're not gonna send him down, right? He doesn't want that. So is it back to Russia he goes? Who really knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Gulyayev and his development. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.